This Tuesday is the special election in the 18th Congressional District, and because of that, we had to deal with Donald Trump. It's Rick Saccone, it's Connor Lamb, they are going at it, and it is my old stomping ground, so I have a particular interest in this particular race, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Post-Gazette and their endorsement of Rick Saccone. We're going to talk about possibly talk about the Strip District Terminal and its facelift that is coming. We're going to talk about Michael Cohen, who is back.
I'm back.
We can't hear you. He's back. I don't think he's activated. Nope. He's there. He's there. He's not there. All right. Michael Cohen.
Headphone and the microphone.
He's back. I guess we'll share. So he's back. We're gonna talk to him about his recent tour that he went on, and we're gonna talk about a bunch of different things. We've got I've got a new trash can. It is the trash can of the future. We have Buffalo Rose here in studio. That's super awesome. They have a big party coming up on the 30th, so we're looking forward to that. That's going to be at the stage at Karma. And we're going to talk about slobs in the studio, vagrants who will be punished. And all I'm saying is these people, once I find out who they are, they will wish that they were going to Hahn's Funeral Home, the only family-owned funeral home in Millville, because after I'm done with them, they're going to wish they weren't alive. I'm done with the crap.
But they might still want a green burial, which is available at Hahn's.
It is available. And they may wish that they're going to go there. I will be making a judgment. I'll be making several judgments. We've got the news segment where I will be judging various topics, and Michael has come up with a series of topics that he thinks need to be judged. Is this not working? Hello. All right, we tested these before we went live, so you'll just use this one for now, if it works. This is like chaos here. Hold on. There we go. Okay. You there?
I'm going to interview you, but now we're just...
We're there. All right, there we go. Okay. So we've got Michael. He's on the microphone, and then we will... I can hear you, yeah.
Oh, okay, well.
Talk louder. That's all. So...
Okay.
You're there.
Yeah,
all right. A little bit. All right. So you just came back. You were on a tour.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
Well, it was a two-part tour. Half of it was a life... Ooh, there it is. Half of it was a life tour, and then half of it was a comedy tour.
Okay.
So,
where did you go? What did you do?
I went to Florida. Oh, no, wait. This is going to give away one of my things later. I ran around at Comic-Con and in a bayou in Florida. And then I went to Tennessee and hung out on an off-the-grid queer ferry commune in Liberty, Tennessee. That's been around for like 30 years.
So you've been to so many places that I will never see in my life.
And then I got back and didn't realize that Krish wanted to leave the next morning. I thought we were leaving in the evening for tour.
Okay. Where did you go on tour?
We went to Huntington, West Virginia, and then went to Elyria, Ohio, which actually has a DIY space based off the Roboto project here in Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were there, and I was like, you know, I actually put on a monthly comedy show at a venue a lot like this one. And the guy goes, the Roboto project? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'm in this band, Wolf Teeth. We toured through there a few times and played. And I was like, I love this place. And I started this one. And then we went to Bowling Green, Ohio, which is not actually where the...
First of all, I got to say real quick, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about, because our scene is horrible as per the big town hall meeting that we had. So, I mean, he couldn't have possibly based anything off of what's going on here in Pittsburgh.
Number one, Roboto's dope, though.
I'm just saying the entire scene is dead. It's horrible. It's awful.
Your scene, dude, I'm in comedy.
I'm just saying, you know,
our scene is differently horrible.
Our scene's so bad, we don't even have enough music to fill a 24-hour radio station of local music. It's just horrible.
Oh, we have more than enough comedy to fill a 24-hour.
Can I make a quick judgment, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, Dave Wheeler was on that panel, and he trashed the Millville Music Festival in Deutschtown, which, you know, I of course am the founder of the Millville Music Festival, and he said that it is not good for the scene, these festivals. So I learned from him that paying all of the artists, providing opportunities to artists who aren't just the most popular artists, and creating a culture in Millville where the number of local musicians that are performing and getting paid at our local establishments have more than tripled in 1 year is bad for the scene. So Dave Wheeler, guilty. Dumb-ass comment, stupid comment on that panel. I mean, my God, brainless. They could have gotten like an oaf to sit on that panel if those are the kind of comments that were being made.
So then we went to Bowling Green, Ohio.
Okay.
Which is not where the Knot Massacre
And the
happened.
panel, by the way, I just got to clarify so people understand. It's the panel that was Downtown Partnership, Pittsburgh, and WES,
I think everyone listening to this show knows that.
Okay, put together to fix the scene. But go ahead.
Bowling Green, Ohio is not where the Knot Massacre happened. The Knot Massacre happened in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Okay.
This is a different Bowling Green. It's a little college town. We did have a funny experience there, though. Krish had tried to get a journalist to promote our show in the paper, but since it was a house show, he was like, well, I can't really because I can't put the address. So it's like weird to promote a show that I can't put the address for. But what if I come to the show and do an article on you, and then you can like put that on the internet, and the next time you come through, we can, do that. And we're like, yeah, it's a great idea. But Krish forgot to tell the people at the house. So we're staying in the house. There's like 12 people.
Krish is another comic in the Pittsburgh scene.
Krish Mohan is the fantastic comic that took me on.
He's often on
my
List Victories, that broadcast, which you can hear Thursday
Yes,
mornings.
and has his own Forkful of Noodles podcast. Yes. Who took me on my second mini tour, which was super fun. But yeah.
He tours all over.
Oh yeah, he like tours almost nonstop. He quote lives in Pittsburgh, but actually he lives in his car.
Yes, basically.
But yeah, so the journalist shows up, and the house is like half filled with just like clouds of smoke and various paraphernalia everywhere, and you can see on the host's face that like it's all coming together when he realizes it's a journalist. But I think it was fine. I haven't seen the article yet.
You'll have to check that out, Wolf.
The host was not thrilled with us.
Do you know who, what the journalist was writing for or reporting for?
Whatever the alt weekly blah blah that of the local this that and the other.
So a local paper.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
The weekly Post Herald or Courier.
Well, it sounds like a good trip. Was it worthwhile for you? Do you feel you grew as a comedian?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Huntington is dark, dude. Huntington is real dark. Like everyone we spoke to there was like, I can't find good housemates who don't shoot dope.
Oh wow!
And I was like, as advertised. Wow, that's
sounds like the 18th congressional district.
Over my head.
Speaking of the 18th congressional district and all of that, and in local newspapers, the Post-Gazette has come out and they have endorsed Rick Saccone.
I think I say they had endorsed shooting dope.
No, maybe.
I was like, well,
I mean, they are endorsing Rick Saccone, so maybe they're going to
speak to your base, right?
Yeah, they're gonna support that as well. So they came out with an editorial as to why they were backing Rick Saccone and why they were endorsing him as a paper. And they brought up some really good points in the beginning, and then they threw it all away with some stupid, dumbass comment. So they talked about his background. He has a background in state legislature, whereas Connor Lamb has never been elected to public office. So he has experience working in a legislature, pushing bills through, all of that stuff. He is a professor at a school. He was in the Air Force, and then he actually worked in intelligence and worked with situations dealing with North Korea. So he has this background, which is pretty substantial, and it fits the times. They didn't mention the fact that he is trying to be a mini-me of Donald Trump, which is one of the reasons why I think he's a horrible, horrible candidate. But at the end of the editorial, the big push that they gave at the end was all the Democrats want to do is impeach Trump, and if the Democrats take control of Congress, that's all they're going to do. They don't care about anything else but impeaching Trump. So even if you don't like Trump, it's not good for the country if all they care about is impeaching Trump, so you should support Rick Saccone. And that was the big selling point at the end of the editorial.
That is circular logic.
It is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my entire life. Maybe Donald Trump should be impeached. I mean, there's a lot of sketchy things he's been involved with as president.
Also, I feel like maybe the other thing they would do is make it so I don't lose my Medicaid.
Well, according to the Post-Gazette, the Democrats are not interested in health care. They actually specifically said that the Democrats in Congress have no interest in health care or jobs or anything. All they care about is impeaching Trump. And if the Democrats get in control of Congress, they will be 100% singularly focused only on impeaching Donald Trump and nothing else. So it's bad for the country.
Shit, I mean, if they're psychic, I want
some of that. Yeah,
Bitcoin predictions.
Exactly. And whatever dope they're pushing.
Yes.
So,
should I invest in Illyrium or whatever the other one is? Ethereum.
What is that?
At this point, no. You are way too late.
Way too late on Ethereum.
I don't know what Ethereum even is. So is that like another cryptocurrency?
Basically.
Can we not talk about cryptocurrency?
Okay.
I listen to I'm just so sick of cryptocurrency. I listen to the BBC a lot at night for my news. And all they talk about is cryptocurrency or the blockchain. Every show. They have a food program and they turn it into a blockchain episode. Everything is about the blockchain. And not that the blockchain isn't interesting, but I don't want to listen to the blockchain on every
Enough with the blockchain!
I'm done with the blockchain.
I'm done with the blockchain, Jerry.
I would love to just eliminate the blockchain, at least from conversation. Maybe use it, but kind of like how I have no idea how this works, but I can use it. I would like to move into that realm with the blockchain, where I can use it.
Can you use the blockchain, though? Like,
I don't even know.
Do you know how to buy a rare Pepe on the blockchain? Because that's a thing now.
I hear that's a thing. I don't even know how. As much as I listen to the shows about the blockchain all the time, because once I turn on a program, I'm at work. I can't just pull out my phone and change things. So even though I hear about the blockchain, I really have no clue what it is because I just have no interest in it at all. At all. So yeah. Anyways, we've got Michael Cohen. I'm Brian Crawford. This is River Talk on the River's Edge Radio Network. And I want to talk about this Rick Saccone thing because I do think it is interesting. He is running against Connor Lamb. I think he is the worst candidate. Is that what we want to talk about? Or if you're live on Facebook, tell us what you want to hear. Do you want to hear about Donald Trump coming to Coraopolis and giving a speech for Rick Saccone?
What the fuck is that?
It's out by the airport.
Oh.
Or do you want to hear about the Post-Gazette's endorsement? We can go more in depth on that. Do you want to hear about the Strip District Terminal? Do you want to hear about the filth in the vermin that are occupying this studio? People who will be expunged from the network.
Brian, if people wanted to vote on what they hear about, they'd go down to the Big Idea bookstore. They come to you because they want to hear you preach.
They want to hear me preach.
Why don't you tell us what we want to hear about?
Let's talk a little bit more about Rick Saccone and Connor Lamb because I think I want to hold off on my plans to eradicate the filth in the studio and clean this place up.
You said filth and vagrants. Are people sleeping here or are they just being messy?
Probably both. And soon we're going to know.
Good on them if they figure out how to sleep here. Being messy is rude.
I mean, I've slept here before.
Yeah.
But I also haven't left a mess while I've slept.
While you slept.
We are going to get to the bottom of this, and when we do, heads are metaphorically going to roll. And we are going to expunge these people. We are going to kick them out.
You can say literally now, and it's still accurate.
Well, I don't want to.
Heads are literally going to roll.
I don't want to cut people's heads off. I'm just
No, you don't have to anymore. It's okay.
What do you mean?
Well, they can figuratively roll, but literally, you know what I mean?
No, I don't.
It's okay, move on.
All right, we're moving on. I don't get it. I'm not going to cut off anyone's head. That's the big thing. But I am going to fire them. I'm going to cancel their program. They will be removed from the premises, and their keys will be turned in. It's time that we stomp out these people who are leaving a mess all over the place. It's like I'm a maid. People expect me to be a maid in this place. No one's paying rent except for me.
Nanny cam?
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that.
Creep.
That is coming. We're going to talk about how I am going to deal with the people who are on this network, people who you may enjoy that you may not hear much longer. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to get into it in a little bit. But right now I have the gavel, and it is time for Michael to come up with some different stories and different topics.
Take that messy shit over to Trib Live. Right?
Yeah, take that over to Trib Live, please. We're going to come down. I'm going to come down with some rapid judgments. What do I have to judge? This is the new segment here. We're going to get some new music.
Am I going first? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh no, it's all you. You're going to give me judgments, and okay. I'm going to come down with rulings. And this is a new segment we're going to have every week, where I, Brian Crawford, the judge of Millville, will come down with harsh or fair. No, I should say fair rulings. I was very fair in my rulings before. I gave Bill Peduto a not guilty the other week. Last week,
Of what?
he posted a tweet that I thought was humorous, and I gave him a not guilty. You know, I'm often very critical of the mayor, but I'm a very fair and just judge.
All right.
All right, so what's the number
Number
one?
one.
All right.
Vermont and Philadelphia have said that they want to open safe shooting sites for heroin addicts. And the U.S. government has said that they will raid those sites and arrest the staff if they try to. What's your take?
So who am I judging? Am I judging Philadelphia, or am I judging the federal government? Or is it a counter judgment where there's two people filing suit against one another, and I need to judge both parties?
All right. Judge the idea of safe shooting sites first.
So,
State-sanctioned places where people can go and shoot dope without being arrested with medical staff on hand.
Okay, and do these places provide information to get help? Do they?
Yes.
Okay.
That's kind of the sly.
I'm going to come down with a judgment here. Not guilty. I'm in favor of those centers. I think it's a good idea. I think it's good to get those people out of dirty places, out on the street, put them in a place where they can be monitored, where they're safe, because these people have families and kids. And then you give those people a chance to, especially if they encourage you to go into rehab, you give those people a chance to then reform their dangerous ways, their dangerous habits, and live a better life.
All right.
So I'm coming down with a not guilty.
Well, then we won't bother to
Address the other topics.
to judge the federal government. Yeah. Number two, I got cryptocurrencies.
Okay, you've got cryptocurrencies. Do you want me to just judge you having cryptocurrencies?
And they're gone.
All right, moving right along.
No, is that a am I supposed to judge that?
Ooh, judge enthusiasts.
Cryptocurrency enthusiasts?
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing them. They're so obnoxious. It's all that, like, if people are into cryptocurrency, that's all they want to talk about, and it's really just like listening to paint dry, because you can't really hear that, so it's extremely boring. And so is listening to people talk about cryptocurrency. I'm going to come down with a judgment guilty, and I'm going to give them community service, because it's really not... It's not like that horrible of a thing to talk about it. It's just really obnoxious.
All right.
I'm a fair judge. I'm a just judge. I don't think that's an unfair ruling.
Okay. While I was in Florida...
Doesn't even respond.
No, just.
Okay, thank you.
I
You're
didn't realize
agreeing.
I was judging your judgments now. I figured it comes down and...
All right, that's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. While I was in Florida, I went into the bayou and ate, for the first time in 15 years, magic mushrooms that someone had given me. Solidly had a freak out on public property, but eventually settled on a beach and had a quasi-religious experience. Bad idea?
Well, you did it in public at first, and then you moved to the beach, right?
Which is also public, but yes.
But you were were you in front of someone's business? I need more details. So you were originally
It's a state park.
So you were at a state park, okay.
Yes.
Were you at a campground?
No.
Okay, what describe the location? Were you on a trail?
So there's
Were you harassing some bear?
There's a 7.5 mile loop, basically.
Okay.
And so my plan was, I drank the mushroom tea, and I started on the loop, and I was like, this will be perfectly timed, so I'll probably walk slow, because I'll be tripping face. Within about 2 miles, I couldn't figure out where the trail was going anymore. And so I think I wound up on a spur, and there were some people in a boat on the beach, but I couldn't tell whether they were like law enforcement or making out or fishermen, because it was in that confusing part where you don't really, you can still tell what's real and what's not, but not socially, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I doubled back.
So it's kind of like when I go without sleep for 3 days. A similar experience.
Like that, but with patterns all over everything.
Okay.
And so then I was pacing about a mile stretch, trying to figure out what to do. And every time I'd pass people, I would get more and more, because I couldn't communicate. And so then I had a pant, and then I drank a lot of kava, and then settled down on a beach, basically. Okay.
So did you know what you were drinking with the mushrooms to start? Or was it like, have you ever seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon? No. So Uncle Iroh, who's like this really awesome, like hilarious old guy, he loves tea, and he brews this tea from this leaf, and he says it's either the best tea in the land, or it's an extremely deadly poison. Well, it turns out it's the extremely deadly poison. They looked similar. So were you in a situation where you could have accidentally taken a mushroom that could have given you an extremely deadly poison?
No.
Or were you definitely were safe?
Solidly hallucinogenic.
Well, you were out at a state park. You were in nature. It's not like you were outside of someone's place of business where you were disrupting, their business and in the flow of traffic and things like that. You weren't defecating out in the street. So I'm going to come up with a judgment. Not guilty.
Awesome.
I think you're in the clear there. So.
All right. I know you don't like their name, but name aside, Antifa punching Nazis.
What am I naming?
Antifa punching Nazis.
Okay. What about it?
Right, wrong, somewhere in between.
I think. See, when it comes to that, I don't think that they're doing their so. It depends on the situation. If they're just going out there and finding Nazis to punch them, I think that that's not going to do their cause justice.
I mean,
now,
they find them at demonstrations.
That's a different situation. So if a Nazi's out there demonstrating, then I think that that's okay. But if they just are going into someone's, house or a place of business and they're like, Nazi, boom, I think that's going to hurt their cause because then they just look like assholes themselves.
What about a private meeting? But that's all Nazis. The
Nazis are having a meeting.
Prior to the big Nazi demonstrations, there was a controversial one in outside of Chicago in 2000.
Here's my thing: if you want to do it, if you're Antifa and you want to do it, I don't have a problem with you attacking Nazis, but understand that you still are breaking the law.
Oh, sure.
And you could go to jail for that, and don't throw a fit when the police take you away. That's my big thing, because I hate when people knowingly break the law and then they whine and moan, oh, but it's Nazis, and it's like, well, you still broke the law. So, yeah, I'm in favor of punching Nazis as long as you're not a little bitch about it when they take you away in cuffs.
Okay.
So,
damn sure that person's really a Nazi before you throw that punch.
Exactly. So,
Not hit the wrong person.
With that judgment, I'm going to come down with I think I'm going to, a mistrial.
No,
that's a mistrial because I can see it depends on the situation and it depends on the person as well.
All right. Society. All right. So for this next one, society is the one that's on trial. Overuse of antibiotics has led to antibiotic-proof gonorrhea.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Do we deserve this as a culture?
Guilty.
Silence in the gallery, please.
Oh, are you trying to shut me down?
Get him.
The Baylor is getting a little too big for his britches. No, I agree with you though. I think that we as a society are guilty because people just take drugs for everything. And I admit, like, the older I get, the more I just take drugs for everything. But that's because I'm too busy now and I don't have time to be sick. So I had the flu recently and I just drugged myself for, like, an entire week. I was taking a cocktail of medicine for an entire week straight.
My weird news story will dovetail with this well then.
Oh, good. So I feel that it's not good to just take drugs for everything. I used to try to go forever without drugs, and if I wasn't so busy now, I would probably do the same thing. I would probably try to not take drugs and suffer through things, because I think it's better for your body to get over things naturally than to just drug yourself into a cure.
Your digestive system. They're coming out with a bunch of stuff now that shows that part of the reason that people are allergic to so much stuff and can't digest it is because basically all your digestion is bacteria in your gut.
Okay.
And you just wipe that shit out.
Well, see, I am pretty good about that because I'm not allergic to any food items. Everything I'm allergic to is just like the rest of nature, like dogs, cats, birds, trees, grass, pollen, dust.
It's a very Jewy set of allergies.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. I don't know. Well, my mother's side, my mother's side of the family was Reese, which it's a German name, but then I've done some research and it may have been a Jewish German name. So there we go. Maybe it all connects. So,
there you go.
I don't know.
That's all I've got on the list right now.
All right, that is the list. So that is the final judgment. If you guys have any topics in which you think I should judge, feel free to hit us up on Twitter at RiverTalkPGH or on the River Talk Facebook page, which is also at RiverTalkPGH. And if Michael likes the topic, he can then present it for judgment. So
Careful, you start giving me power, things can get fucked up around here.
It could get messed up, yeah. Well, that's why I've got the gavel. And it was fun. So, yeah, that's a good segment. I think we're going to keep that going. We need to get some new... I think we need to get some good theme music for that, though. Some real intense music. I wish, like, we could just break copyright infringement and just, like, have, like, the Law and Order dun 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 dun.
I feel like you could probably just do that anyway.
Or Judge Judy, maybe, or something like that. I don't know. That would be fun. So that was good.
I'm glad you're concerned with laws, because I would probably just get us sued.
Yeah. That would be awful. So then we would not have a local music station, and then...
I would just be like, it's easier to apologize and ask permission, or however that talk goes, and we'd be in court, and they'd be like, that is not accurate.
Yeah, and then we'd have all of this money, and then we would be
It's easier to ask
screwed.
forgiveness than permission, that's the one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to the bottom of the villains in the studio that's coming up in a little bit. We also have the weird news. Those people, we're going to pass a judgment on them, and it won't be long until I figure it out. Until I figure out who is the culprit. I have some ideas, and people are going to have to shapen up around here, or they're getting the boot. I'm done playing around, and I have a plan. We're going to find out who these people are, and we're going to expunge them. Is that the weird news music that I hear?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard the weird news music. Should we go into the weird news? I know we're a few minutes early.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, buddy.
Let's do the weird news. Let's roll right ahead into the weird news, because I want to talk with Buffalo Rose, and that way we have ample time to discuss that. We have ample time to discuss my plans to hold people accountable here at the River's Edge. And again, some of your favorite shows may be going away. We will find out in the coming months as I start to unroll a plan to find out who the vile, disgusting slobs
I read an
who
article
operate this board.
that people are using VR technology now to create like fictional porn for revenge porn purposes. I want to use that technology to make a video of you like feeding pigeons in the studio.
Pigeons in the studio.
Throwing breadcrumbs around.
You know what? At least the pigeons would clean up the mess, which is more than I could say for some of the people who operate programs here on the River's Edge. We're going to find out who they are, and we're going to hold them accountable. But let's roll into the weird news right here. I'm Brian Crawford. That's Michael Cohen. We have Buffalo Rose up in a little bit, and we've got the weird news coming at you right now here on Pittsburgh's Voice for Local Music, the River's Edge. We are back. I am Brian Crawford, Michael Cohen with me, and we have not one, not two, but three weird stories to keep the Mon Monster at bay. The Mon Monster, which is the beast that lives in our rivers and terrorizes the entire city of Pittsburgh each and every week. And the only way to appease the creature is by giving it a few weird news stories. And first up, the UK expects to start replacing emergency people like firemen and police and things like that by 2068 with hundreds of robots that look like people. And they're not going to be used all the time. They are going to be used in situations that are too dangerous for humans to enter, like if an entire skyscraper catches on fire, like what happened, I believe, in Dubai, where the entire building caught on fire.
It also happened in Britain recently.
It did happen in Britain, that's right. Yeah, so that was, I don't think that, it wasn't nearly as big of a building, though, but it was a high rise. The one in Dubai, though, was one of the biggest, it was a huge building, massive skyscraper. But yeah, it did happen in Britain as well. So they plan on bringing out these robots, and these robots apparently have the strength that is like 500 times the strength of a human being. Yeah, with the strength of 500 men, these robots. This is according to Mirror. So
essentially like 500 women. Yeah.
or 500, yeah, whatever. 500 men, 500 women. They say 500 men in the article. That's.
Or like what kind of men? Like me or like, like real men? 500 Michael Cohens able to almost flip a car.
So I don't know. This is interesting, and it's supposed to be coming by 2068.
Anytime I hear robot cops, I just think, you ever see that movie Elysium?
No, I haven't.
It was the movie
I've seen Terminator, though.
The Neil Blomkamp put out between District 9 and Chappie.
Oh, I didn't. I've seen District 9.
It had, what's his name? Ben Stiller, not Ben Affleck's sidekick. What's his, yeah, it had like Matt Damon.
Okay.
As the, and it's in this world where, like all the rich people have moved to a space station basically, and the Earth is just this like shitty resource extraction colony that's like too gross for people who have the choice to leave to live on basically.
Yeah.
But they have these robotic cops, and they're like glitchy, and they don't really care about you obviously. And
that's the thing is like we keep going. I feel like we're already moving into a direction where not always. Like I feel like some communities still have an exception. Let me give you an example. I lived in Manor once, and well, first off, there was this asshole who had a light that he would shine on his house to show how big his house was at night, and I used to just slam on the horn every time I was outside of his house just to wake him up.
Does he know that if you trim the hedges, it looks bigger?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So, but I would just slam on the horn because I'm like, what a douchebag. He shines a giant light on his house. Like, look at me, I'm rich. I'm like, well, you know what? Now you're awake. So I think he probably is the one that called the cops. But I would fly down that road. Everybody would speed down that road, and an officer pulled me over because I was going too fast, and he could just tell that, I got a nice face. I'm a good guy. He could tell. He could feel the good vibes coming off of me as he was talking to me, and he knew that I was a righteous person. So he said, as he went back to his car and he typed in my information with my driver's license, and his computer wasn't working. So he comes back out and he said, "You don't have any issues, do you?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "Then go ahead, you're fine." He says, "We're just stopping people to let them know that people are going a little too fast here, and we want to make sure that people don't go so fast." So from that point forward, I never would speed down that road because I had respect, because this guy gave me a break, he cut me a break, and I didn't want to just give him the finger after he helped me out, and I thought that was cool. You hear these old stories of cops that would, local cops, they find someone who's drunk and they take them home instead of giving them a citation. Well, I feel like we're moving further and further away from that and more to a by-the-books approach where...
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons why they make cops travel in pairs now, is basically like to snitch on each other. So like, if you do like catch someone with like weed or something, you can't let them go because your partner's standing right there.
Yeah, and I just don't like that. And I feel like if we go to like robot cops, we'll have more of that where it's just by the books. This is what it is, and there's no exception. There's no, hey, just don't be stupid next time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing is cops are already functional sociopaths, right? Where like they say well, if you say I'm just if you say I'm just doing my job, then that means that you don't take the responsibility for your actions as a person. So you're just a fucking robot at that point anyway, right? Like. The reason that you and I can interact as people is because I could change your mind or something.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing: is the flip side of that is that the cool cops that you're talking about are actually like corrupt, basically, right? Where they're not doing their job, they're picking and choosing who they do the job to. It's like when someone refers to the cool Christians, and they just mean someone who's less Christian.
Well, speaking of the Christian thing,
it's like that with cops.
There's a parable actually in the Bible about the unjust judge, and the unjust judge was actually almost like a good guy. Like he would throw people a bone here, and if he could kind of feel the situation, whereas a just judge would just completely look at the law and whatever it is, that's what it is. So the unjust judge was actually more of an easier judge to get along with. So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one, right? Because I feel like the small town cop, right? Because there's two images of the small town cop, right? There's from within the small town where you're oh yeah, he's known me since I was a kid, and someone's bike gets stolen, you go find the bike and talk to their parents. And then there's the other image of the small town cop, which is from the outsider's perspective, which is you're coming through and you get pulled over and they're like, "What you doing around here?" You're like, "Oh, we're just passing through." And
I could see where I grew up, and I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to get sued, but we had one cop who...
Scientologists? Is this...
Well, we had a part-time... Where I grew up, there was always a part-time cop. That's all they could afford. And originally it was a guy where I don't even know what kind of qualifications he had, but he would chase kids, and the kids would just run from him and make fun of him, and no one got in trouble, like any kind of legal trouble. He just kind of kept people in line as best as he could. Did he just
never think to shoot them from behind? Because I see that a lot.
No, he never thought to do that. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, he eventually retired, and then we had one cop. We had a plethora of cops because they just kept coming and going because of the politics of the place, and everything was politics. I mean, it was a small town. So the one cop was going around and flirting with all of the young girls, and I remember because one of the community members spoke to my mom, and they said, "Oh, he's so good with the children." And my mom's like, "Yeah, he's too good with the children." Because this guy was always like flirting like with my sister for one. But my sister was always one to like take advantage of people like that. There was a school bus driver who, for example, who would drop her off in front of the house every day, and she would wave and smile as she got off the bus because she knew that just by smiling at him, she could get him to drop her off at home instead of a half block away. So, yeah.
All right, what's the next story you got?
Well, the next one's yours.
This is getting weird. Okay.
It was weird. It was really weird. I mean, this guy, and then he would always, he would go to the council president's house for dinner every day because she was, trying to usurp power from the mayor's office. It was just,
all right.
bizarre.
So, Brian, did you drink a lot of cough syrup as a kid?
No.
You ever drink just, a little extra?
No.
Just for funsies?
No, because it tastes horrible. Who could?
Lots of people.
I don't like it. It tastes awful. All
right. Well,
I only drink things that taste good.
The active ingredient that people use to get fucked up in not the codeine lean cough syrup, but in the over the counter stuff is called dextromethorphan.
Mm-hmm.
And dextromethorphan is in a family of drugs called dissociatives, which are a weird spread. It's nitrous oxide, ketamine, PCP. They all do essentially the same thing. And so ketamine in the last few years has had a lot of experiments as an antidepressant. Mm-hmm. Not as a daily thing, but large doses semi-regularly. And now they are experimenting with DXM, dextromethorphan, as an antidepressant as well.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm asking is in the weeks where you drink cough syrup regularly because you're sick, do you ever just feel happier the next day?
Well, I never have. I mean, I've never drinking cough medicine regularly.
Okay, well,
even
the cool little things that what are they? Not tablets. What are they?
Like the Alka-Seltzers?
The soft gels. Do you ever take the soft gels, Brian?
Not regularly. Like I said, I never really drank. I never did many drugs because I just wanted to do things naturally growing up. But I know I have taken a ton of vitamin C before, and
it does not count.
Okay,
that does not.
I don't know what else
contain a dissociative.
Yeah, that's about all I've ever. Explain to me what happens.
Although I did. We dumpstered all these vitamin C gummies one time, a case of them, and we sat around and ate them as if they were actual gummy candies.
Yes, I kind of
it hurts your kidney.
Oh, really? So I didn't have that experience. I drank several gallons of orange juice, several boxes of vitamin C supplements, several vitamin C pills, and 8 oranges and everything else in a matter of a day.
Wait, ATE oranges or EIGHT oranges?
Oh, 8, ATE. Okay. I ate. Yeah, I was eating. I was basically trying to just shove as much vitamin C as I could into my body, and I just pooped a lot.
Okay.
So, but I mean, it felt good.
That's all. Just that pooping feels great.
Especially when you have a new toilet. We just got that new toilet in our house, and it's an elongated toilet. Oh my god, it's the best toilet I've ever had. It's wonderful.
Was your old toilet too short?
It was too short. It was small, and it kept clogging. So you were gone. You were away on your journey, and while you were gone, one day before the show, the toilet overflowed all over the floor minutes before we had to leave to come to the show. And it was awful. So I called the landlord. I'm like, we need a new toilet. So then after not getting any sleep for 3 days trying to communicate with the plumber, we finally got the toilet in. He was a nice guy, but he does everything later, and I need to sleep later. So we got the new toilet in, and I mean, it's huge. It's fantastic. And apparently it's a really cheap toilet when I talked to my dad, who's a master plumber, but I don't care. It's nice. So.
But yeah, so basically they're using DXM now. They're experimenting with it as an antidepressant.
Okay.
And I was just reading. I was just like, I wonder if
it might be better than all the other crap.
My tendency to stay on it substantially longer than I actually need it when I'm sick is some kind of like self-medication. Or
yeah,
something,
I wonder. Maybe it would be better than all of the stuff that they're giving people now, because I know the stuff now that they're giving is just horrible. A lot of it. Really bad side effects. Addictive sometimes.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that this stuff has side effects.
Probably. Everything has side effects. Even vitamin C, apparently.
All right. What you got?
Great. The last one I have has to do with the trash can that I have coming to my house. It's a brand new trash can. I'm very excited about it. It's the trash can of the future.
Ooh.
I don't like touching trash cans, especially like the trash can lid, because the germs spread across your entire body. They're very quick. And, every time...
Nothing about what you're saying surprises me right now.
Every time you touch a trash can, like every time I touch a trash can lid, I have to hand sanitize or wash my hands because, like I said, those germs are just creeping up your skin and going into your pores and rotting your flesh away as it touches you.
You and I have had such different lives.
So I now have 2 new trash cans coming. I got them on Amazon. They're fantastic. They are motion-censored stainless steel trash cans. So now all you have to do is lift the thing over the trash can that you want to throw away, and the lid will automatically open for you, and then it will self-close after you're done.
I've got one like that. You push a button at the bottom with your foot, and
but those often break and they look cheap often. These ones are stainless steel. They're nice. They're motion censored. So if the foot pedal, you don't have to worry about the foot pedal breaking. And it came with 2. It came with one for the kitchen and one for the bathroom for $60-some, which is not a bad deal for 2 stainless steel trash cans. But I mean, they're literally motion censored. They're fantastic.
It's like when you walk by, you think they'll ever just...
As long as it reshuts and I don't have to touch it, it's A-okay with me.
Could you, if you set up a series of them with all their little motion sensors and put different bells on them, do you think you could,
start like a little choir?
Yeah.
It could be like that Furby organ we talked about a few weeks ago. So that would be pretty sweet.
One. That sounds incredible.
It was incredible. And speaking of incredible music,
yes,
we have Buffalo Rose here in studio. We have Jason, Lucy, Bryce, and Shane. And I'm so excited you guys have your CD release party coming up, and it's going to be on the 30th of March, and it's going to be at the Stage at Karma, which is exciting. It's a brand new venue here in Pittsburgh. It's so much buzz about the place. People are talking about it all the time, so it's very exciting. Let's see if we can get your mic back up here, Michael. You can still chat here, but I'm really excited about this. I'm excited. We're going to need to get you guys on the network.
Ooh, this one's working
as
now.
well,
Oh.
so we can put this album into rotation.
All right.
And we have one of the songs from the album right here. It's waiting. We're going to play it at the end of today's program so everybody can hear it. So are you guys really excited about this on the 30th?
Yeah, we're very excited.
We're very excited to be done working on the album.
I'm sure.
I mean, obviously, we're excited to hear it and share it with everyone, but it's just we did it.
Does it feel more impressive whenever you... I was talking with Eris Paul recently. He had a release that just came out, and I was saying how, this show, I don't have to... it's every week is a new show, so I don't have to deal with that agonizing wait, and I know it's got to be very gratifying when it's done. But do you enjoy that process of putting together an album?
I think, there's parts we love, and there's parts that are definitely anxiety-inducing.
I'm
but
sure.
I would say it's definitely, we enjoy it more than not. I mean...
I feel like it's got to be a... I'm sorry, were you going to say something? No. Okay. I thought you started saying something. I feel like it's got to be almost a bigger reward when you've waited so long. It's just got to be very fulfilling.
Yeah. I mean, we had false starts. We started the album at one studio and ended it at another.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, we lost recordings. We had to scrap stuff, and it was just a whole journey. And we loved to hate the process. We would stay up really late in the studio, complaining the whole time, and then we would go home and be like, "That was awesome."
How stressful was that to switch studios? I feel like that would be nerve-wracking.
It was honestly the opposite of that. As soon as we were in the new studio and tracked a little bit, we were like, everything is we're so glad we did this. Yeah.
The stressful part was making the decision.
The stressful part was we might have to start over, and then it was once we were we should do that, and then it was
So it was like refreshing in a way to get a clean start. I almost feel like, was it refreshing when you were about to leave the other? Was there any like lag time when you were still working at the old studio before you moved over and you had made that decision?
I think the old studio was great. We needed a change of pace. There were things about the old studio that seemed like benefits at the time. Like we didn't have a lot of time restrictions, or like we could kind of take some liberties with like, oh, let's track this first and try this. And we kind of were experimenting. We were finding a good way to record our material. But as soon as we figured out, oh, we need like a deadline. We need someone to be like, looking at their watch while we played. And we need to record more things together in the same room. Like we kind of worked some of that stuff out in the first spot. And then, so by the time we moved, it still felt like a forward motion thing. We didn't feel like we were starting over or anything.
Well, that's good. I know that could be a big deal. I know myself, the way I operate creatively is things will brew in my head for a long time, and then I just spit it all out on paper. But if I don't have that deadline, it'll just keep brewing and brewing and brewing in my head. So I like to have a deadline. A lot of times when I'll write a show for write a story for the show, I'll end up spitting it out minutes before I need to leave to go do the show, because it's just, there's so many other things that you need to do that it's so easy to put things on the back burner until you get that deadline, and then you have to make it happen.
When you have a show booked already and you're finishing up the album, that you don't have,
Yeah, you don't have.
It just has to happen.
Yeah, we did it to ourselves. We were like, okay, we're going to book a show so that we have to have the album done by
Sometimes that helps, right? I mean, that can help.
Definitely.
We would be like 3 songs into the record if we hadn't done that. Like, we'd have a long way to go.
Yeah, so tell me about the record.
Well, it's called The Soil and the Seed. We made it ourselves with our own wait, how many hands? There's 6 of us. With our own 12 hands.
6 of you, but there's 4 people here in the band.
Yeah, we're short.
I mean, 4 people here in the studio. Yeah, Jason, Lucy, Bryce, and Shane.
We're missing Mariko Reed and Mac Inglis, who Mariko sings and Mac plays dobro. We love them and we miss them. Maybe they're listening. Hey, guys. Yeah, what about the album? I don't know.
It's kind of, I think we built off a lot of the themes of our first EP, as far as like, we kind of drew a lot of inspiration from like nature, and Shane and Lucy wrote all of the material more or less, and the other musicians kind of, we polished it, we made arrangements as a group, but Shane and Lucy can probably speak to this better than me, but a lot of the stuff is just inspired by like sort of finding yourself through I don't. You guys talk about it. I don't need this.
No, it's like, it's so hard to like look at this whole big piece of work that we did and be like, it's about this, but
is it about many things?
It's about many things, yeah. But I think like a lot of the themes, I mean, we use like a lot of the imagery is like nature, but it's like in terms of like the actual thematic like elements of the album. I mean, we, for the most part, are like all recent college graduates, with the exception of some of our older band members. But me and Shane are like within the last couple of years finished school, and like now are like, oh, like we're in a band now, like we're professional musicians or something, and like just trying to figure that out and like be like little real humans who like no one is telling us how to be humans anymore. I feel like is a lot of what's like present in the album.
Cool. So there is kind of that going on, but I mean, it can be many things. That's the nice thing is about an album, is you can have a variety of things coming together, and I know that could be. I kind of got that way early, even when I was in school. I remember when I was in school, and it was definitely to my detriment. I racked up all of this debt because I wanted to be that adult living on my own, and I wouldn't let my parents help me with anything. So, I don't have any money this week? I'll pull out the credit card and charge my grocery bill. So, horrible decisions. But, my sister, on the other hand, was the opposite. She would just go out there and just, take whatever she could get. She was smarter, though. She's probably had less debt coming out. But yeah, so that's cool. So, you said there's a lot to deal with nature in it. Can you elaborate more on to what you mean by that? What
Everyone's looking at me right now. I guess I'll take this.
Yeah, what has inspired
about the nature.
you? Did you go on a quest like Michael did recently?
I watched I watched fish were jumping all the way out of the water because
dolphins were hunting them, and then osprey were circling overhead trying to catch them when they were jumping out of the water.
That's like some planet.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I would think it was fake, except I'd watched a much smaller version of it the previous day.
Wow.
With smaller dolphins.
No, but less of all the things.
Yes.
I had seen it happen once the previous day, and then from my spot on the beach, it just started. So this is about you. Go on.
No.
Shane didn't see anything that cool.
That would be a really good album, though. I mean, that would be a really interesting
Dolphin hunt.
Yeah.
That's what the next one is going to be about. When they say, "What's this album about?" we can say, "Fish jumping out of the water and getting
eaten by birds."
It'll be a concept album about the life of the dolphins that leaps from a pond.
We're working with Janelle Monáe on it. Just giving him a wish.
Yeah. I would say that a big part of how it incorporates nature is sort of expressing human themes through the natural world. Maybe it's a lot about it's about a lot of different things, like love and hate and finding yourself and like being sad and being happy. There's some really serious music and really sad music. But a lot of it is sort of presented through this natural language, I guess.
Okay.
Or language that has to do with the natural world.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because we...
Is that right? Yeah.
For the most part... I mean, I don't know. We never set out to write a bunch of songs about nature, but I feel like it's funny because we, for the most part, are people of the city. We are urban people. Most of us come from urban areas and we live in the city. But we sing about just like wanting to hang out outside all the time. Yeah. And like we're, you know, it's like in some ways like a bluegrass band, which has like this, folk, bluegrass, Americana, whatever you want to call it. We play string instruments, which I feel like there's like an expectation of like, in like the country family of music to like be more in touch with like the natural world. And I feel like a lot of our songs are about like that disconnect, about the fact that like we live in the city, but we do have this like restlessness, you know?
Well, we're kind of lucky though in this city, aren't we? That we have more nature in the city limits than other places. Yeah. And even the mayor completely backtracked on his plans to create the largest city park in the United States here in Pittsburgh, and now it's not even the largest park in Pittsburgh. It still adds a lot of greenery to the city, and we're really blessed. You go downtown and you can see in between the buildings, there's different parks and trees. There's now trees and parks being built on top of buildings even downtown, and it's really we're very lucky in that regard. Especially you go to somewhere like Frick Park, for example, and you can find places where you don't even see the city or hear the city.
I love that there's so much deer within the city limits. Like after living in North Carolina and smaller town Connecticut, like I can't imagine moving to a major city that didn't just have like deer and raccoons and shit
running through, especially in Mount Lebanon. Yeah,
the rabbits everywhere. Bunnies. Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take long to get to nature from the city either here in Pittsburgh. Accessible. It is, yeah. You can just go right out to like Settler's Cabin, for example. There's a lot of parks out there, and then honestly, if you want to go that like a little bit further, you can get out the Somerset, go right down the Turnpike, and that's probably I've never driven there from Pittsburgh. I used to live out in Westmoreland County. But from there, it was over an hour, so I'm guessing it's probably about 2 hours from the city to get out that way, where they have Laurel Highlands and State Park and all of that. So it really is pretty accessible here.
Yeah. So the album's about the indignities of living in industrial capitalism.
Yes.
Okay.
Totally.
Write that
crap.
I got dolphins and industrial capitalism. Just keep talking. We'll have a whole another album of material.
Fantastic.
You get it. Yeah, you get it.
Do you guys ever just travel though, like to go to these places?
Yeah, we've definitely. We were just in Johnstown. Was that last night? That was last night. It's
You've braced it up the whole time, so.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, we've been definitely trying to this summer too. We've been booking ourselves stupid, trying to get to some of these places that we write
about.
Going
to upstate New York in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Rochester.
So you guys are going to be traveling a lot after the release party on the 30th. Sure, I knew I saw you guys have a schedule. Yeah. Where all are you going?
Good question.
Yeah, the next weekend we're going to Rochester and Buffalo with our friends and associates, Binley Hardware Company.
Oh, nice.
That's an amazing name.
Yeah.
Good people.
Yeah, good people too.
Then we're going
Where else are we going?
to West Virginia.
Yeah, we're going to West Virginia,
Nice.
Virginia, DC,
We're planning a Boston trek.
Boston.
That's in
We're going back
Nice.
to Chicago in
Back to
June.
Chicago.
We'll stop somewhere that isn't the city.
Where
along
else?
the way
Oh,
then.
probably like Philadelphia, New Jersey. Working on that too. And
And we'll go camping.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. So when you go camping, how do you like to camp?
I mean, we've never camped as a band before. I would love.
probably should.
I want to. Yeah.
How do you like to camp?
Down.
Do you camp in the tent? Do you
Rugged.
go? Yeah.
No, not that rugged.
Dig a
Yeah.
hole to sleep in.
I have a hammock. Actually, I'm big on the hammock. I sleep much better in a hammock.
So you sleep just outside under the
Yeah.
stars then? Okay. Very cool.
My little sweatshirt.
I've never done that in a hammock. Is it comfortable?
It's really comfortable because
it?
there's no like sticks on the ground and like it's just like weightless. It's
So-
really
Does it get
nice.
cold?
It does, yeah. You need like a good sleeping bag and like cozy PJs.
There's no lift beneath you.
Yeah, Lucy, we were talking about starting.
I wanted to be a hammock person, so I tried for a long time.
See, it's weird. You mentioned the rock or sticks underneath you, but I remember, like, as a kid, I used to do a ton of camping, and sometimes that rock would hit, like, just the right spot, and it was really
Yeah.
comfortable having a rock right under your back. It sounds really stupid,
That's
but
probably good for your back. I have a back.
is it? I don't know if it's good or horrible. I feel like it might not be.
I feel like
good at all.
hard surface is good for your back.
People pay to get rocks on their back. Maybe not like
Like
on the
Reiki?
ground, but like hot rocks. And stuff.
No. Yeah, I did. I've slept under the stars a few times, but the one time was horrible because we did it in a large group, and it was part of this. I was in this organization called the Order of the Arrow, and you had to like do a few different like things to get into the organization, and one of them was you had to
Today
sleep
we
out.
call it hazing, but it's illegal, so it's not hazing.
No, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was all
Orientation.
It was good
Yeah,
stuff. So, to get into the Order of the Arrow, one of the things that you had to do was sleep under the stars. It wasn't that big of a deal, but everybody was like such a wimp, and they all brought these tarps, and they laid these tarps down and covered themselves in tarps. All you heard all night was. And you couldn't fall asleep because all you could hear is. So I was up. I mean, that's probably why I'm so good at working overnight now, because that was my first experience at staying up for 24 hours.
The only time I've ever had to camp, the only time I've ever camped on tour was the first puppet tour I went on in 2006. The person who was supposed to do all the booking of dates and housing just basically, like, I had a lot of housing fell through, and
Yeah.
we wound up sleeping in a cornfield one night, and we wound up sleeping under power lines, like in one of those clearance areas one night.
Yeah.
It was not amazing.
I wouldn't mind. One of these days, if I ever have time, I would like to take the bike trip from like Pittsburgh down to Washington D.C.
yeah.
And there are campgrounds along the way, and I feel like that would be a really cool experience. We tried to do a small version of that once. It failed epically.
My mother and I did that trip when they first finished it.
Oh, really?
It was super. Although she's older, so we stayed in hostels instead of camping.
Yeah, so we tried to camp once. We had this big trip, and we organized this thing, and we had just decided one day that we were going to drive from Smithton to Ohiopyle, camp overnight, and then ride back. Well, none of us had ridden a bike in a long time, so it was a horrible idea. And my one friend just couldn't handle what he was carrying, so I'm carrying that. I'm like the smallest guy there, and I'm carrying like now 2 people's worth of luggage for this trip while I'm on this bike going. So I'm like not having a good time. We ended up getting to Connellsville, and we're treating Connellsville like it was Mount Olympus or something because it was the halfway point, and we acted like the streets were paved in gold and everything else. And then from Connellsville to Ohiopyle, there are no other stops, no other like legitimate stops. So halfway between the two, somebody's tire breaks, and we brought everything that you would need except for stuff to repair bikes. So then we had to walk the rest of the way to Ohiopyle. By the time we got there, the campground was closed, and we didn't know what we were going to do, and somebody who had like some sort of food place. I don't know if it was ice cream or what, but she welcomed us in and she said, let me call the people across the street. And there was an inn across the street and we ended up sleeping there. But let me tell you, the walking pains and bike pains are never supposed to meet, because that is a horrible experience.
Speaking of ice cream, my sister used to go on a lot of long bike trips, and they had a rule, which I feel like was a good rule of thumb for like anyone going on a long bike journey, which was that if you see somewhere where you can get ice cream, you have to stop and get ice cream.
Ooh,
That's a great rule. I like that rule. So, are you going to adopt that into your tour when you see a place with ice cream?
We should.
That's dangerous.
We'll drive past a lot more.
Also, touring, you're not burning it as much. That's a dangerous proposition.
Like
for
we
tour.
already eat a lot of junk food on tour.
Yeah.
Royce, it looked like you were about to make a judgment.
I used to put on a lot of weight.
Shane was indicating that.
Yes, we will.
Maybe you can make
Yes.
a decree. I think.
Yeah, you could slam the gavel. There we go.
Guilty
Maybe, like-
of getting ice cream at every ice cream.
No fast food places, but like if it's
Okay.
like a home place that's
Yeah.
like, oh, we have ice
Yeah,
cream.
like no Dairy Queens, only.
no
Yeah.
McDonald's ice cream.
You gotta. That's
That
just
doesn't count.
snowballs. If you start
Yes.
going down a wrong path.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Follow up.
What is ice cream really?
Do you guys have a favorite? Go ahead.
Oh, we did stop at Sheets twice
Oh, boy.
yesterday. That was
Jason
probably
and
a bad call.
Sheets is tour gold is the thing though. Like
It
when we
totally
used to do
is.
puppet tour in the early in like the late aughts and stuff, because you if you don't get the toppings that cost money, you can get the $2 6-inch sandwiches. So you can eat for $6 a day and you get lots of vegetables. Like it's the phrase eating at Sheets 3 times a day sounds terrible, like sounds horrific, but actually it's one of your healthiest bets for cheap food that is a lot of vegetables.
Sadly,
I'm
it
on
is. The
board.
gas stations are much better than like fast food, for example,
Oh,
when
definitely.
it comes to health. So,
I'm embarrassed to say the last time we played at the Brown Hotel like 2 weeks ago, and I stopped on one Sheets to get a meal, and then it made me very thirsty, and I stopped at the very next Sheets on my way to get a drink, and I don't know what that says about me, but
I mean, the good
I'm
news
glad
is
they're
that there's at least 2 sheets between here and anywhere we go.
right. It's
You know
the
what's
most
crazy?
reliable source.
we were in North Huntington. They had a big Sheets that was like so busy that you would go and if you ordered food, sometimes you would have to wait for over 40 minutes for your food. And it wasn't because they were lazy. These people were like killing it, but there were so many people there, and eventually they just like you could see like their souls got sucked out of them, and they were just like automatons. They were like these robots that are going to be replacing emergency workers in the UK. They were just going like on like instinct because they were just so overwhelmed. So it was so busy that they actually built another Sheets that you could look at from that Sheets.
That's amazing.
Because they needed it. So like people were complaining, but I was saying no, they need that second Sheets. There was so much traffic at the first Sheets that they had to build that second Sheets in order
It's
to
like those
handle.
2 Rite Aids in Oakland.
Or were they
one right
both
around the
busy?
corner
Yeah, they're
from each
so-
other.
yeah.
And like you don't, when you first move there, you're like, why are there 2 Rite Aids? And then after you live there for a year, you're like, I understand why there are 2 Rite Aids.
Exactly.
I guess what we're really saying is if you know any good scams for free Sheets credit or free Sheets food or free Sheets gas, please message me directly on Facebook.
There we go.
Michael Cohen, you can find me through the show, and just send me on Facebook Messenger if there's a good return scam or some
Chipotle.
something
Oh
along those
yeah.
lines.
Well, this is
tell
not
me
even a
Chipotle.
scam.
You don't need to
No.
tell me on the radio.
This is
Okay,
You
yeah.
tell me
We'll talk
afterwards.
about this later. I'll tell
Okay.
you a Sheets thing on the
Insider's
radio right now, though.
Oh, what you got?
So I was actually at Sheets this morning. I went without you guys. Whatever. I was in the car by myself, and I was insanely impressed by the ice cream and frozen yogurt spread that they had there. Just like thing after thing of like.
Did you have ice cream for breakfast?
Gummy bears. No, I didn't. I actually had a really nice sandwich. Like gummy bears and Skittles and all this stuff. And they had that like, what's that like fancy chocolate that starts with a GH, like Ghirardelli?
Ghirardelli, yeah.
They had like what you would normally squirt ketchup out of for Ghirardelli caramel.
Oh my God.
Just sitting on the counter.
Oh, caramel?
Yeah, I don't know. But,
Sorry, go on.
but regardless, like, I mean, that's something. It's not even a scam. I mean, it just seemed like anyone could go up and get caramel if they wanted it. So.
into your hands.
So could we get like a Sheets corporate sponsorship
Mouth
for the
under the
album?
tap like Homer
Sheets, if you're
Simpson.
listening right now.
We'll drive the Sheets tour
So
bus.
Dory
Yeah.
messaged us on Facebook. She wants to know, Dory Cameron, she wants to know where you guys are going to be playing in Boston. and let her know if you need a place to stay as well.
Aw,
So,
that's
Dory,
nice.
Awesome.
and just for those of you who are listening, Dory is a local musician, so it's not just some random creeper who's trying to get Buffalo
Where are you
Rose.
staying?
Hey,
We wouldn't
That's,
care.
Couchsurf is based on local creepers being
Yeah.
good to each other. You know, I mean, it's
It's very DIY to be
Yeah.
a local
Yeah.
creeper, but he's from Boston. He'll
I'm a Bostonian, so I don't know. We're working on that one. That's like the one weekend that's we
Okay.
had one set and we had to move it, so we'll be in touch. Dory, is it Dory?
Dory, yes.
Dory.
maybe.
Very cool.
Does Dory have any suggestions? We're open to them.
Yeah,
Yes,
Dory, if you have any
please
suggestions,
let us
please feel free. She says she's still a creep, so there we go.
You're safe.
nice.
Welcome, Creep.
stay creep.
Before we get into how I plan to wrangle the scourge of the studio who are leaving this place a mess all the time, I want to tell me a little bit about the show on the 30th. Who will you be playing with? Why should people show up?
Angela Autumn is opening for us, our friend and associate. She's awesome. She put together a band for the show, so this will be
Nice.
a new thing that she's doing with a big band. And we got a bunch of special guests playing with us. Our friends who worked on the album with us will all be up and playing with us.
Very cool.
It's going to be really special. It's kind of like a big ensemble where, like, normally we feel pretty lucky if we can get, like, one friend who's in the audience to be like, oh, come sing on the song. And this one we have everyone who recorded on the album.
And then some.
And then some, like, playing and singing with us. So
I kind of want to give a shout out to Karma too, because that we've kind of been experimenting and rehearsing and talking to Kevin.
Kevin Safner.
Kevin
Yes.
Safner,
He's
who's
the manager of the
yeah,
place.
I've been doing a great job, and it just sounds awesome, and it's like a great atmosphere, and this is like essentially the first month they're having consistent shows
Yeah.
there, so we're like really grateful to be able to kind of usher in this venue that's like really good for the city.
And
Yeah, no, I mean, as
Yeah,
soon as you
yeah.
knew who was working on it, you knew it was going to be a great venue. And they'll change the name eventually, probably, right?
Who knows? Can't speak to that.
But they have been super cool
There, I said
promoting it. And
Yeah.
like they're putting it out there.
Yeah, so
Definitely.
book your shows with them.
Definitely,
Everyone.
please.
Yeah.
Go play there.
Yeah, it's a very cool space. I was fortunate enough. I was in there before they officially called it Karma, and I got to get a tour.
Oh, that beautiful moment when it was an amazing club that wasn't called Karma yet.
No, it was before. It was back. It was they were already
Was
making
it?
it the venue, and they just because I'm a big shot in the Pittsburgh scene, that they invited me in for a private tour.
Did you judge
So-
the space?
I didn't have the gavel yet. No, I wasn't.
So
I
you
wasn't.
were judge.
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't. I don't know. What do you call it when someone becomes a judge? Not ordained, but what is it?
Bard? Is it benched? Are you,
No, that's
you
the
benched?
opposite.
I don't know. I didn't have a
Wait,
gavel
you
yet though. I wasn't promoted. I wasn't bestowed. the-
Lawyers get barred,
Okay, well,
right? And
I-
you get. I don't know.
Literally
Judged,
past
I
the
don't know.
bar.
Well,
Yeah.
but right, but but then you get disbarred. So I assume you're
Right.
barred, and then you get disbarred.
Oh,
right?
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean,
yeah.
you passed.
I like benched.
Yeah, before I was benched. That was before I was benched. It was before I was handpicked to be a celebrity judge. So, but
So
I
you were
was
in no
down there.
position.
I was in no position to make a judgment at that point. No,
Well, we can tell you it's good.
Yeah.
it's very good. Yeah, I can judge now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Lucy is judged for me. So, and I will not overrule the judgment because I am definitely in agreement on that judgment. So you guys have been a great jury today. Buffalo Rose, Jason, Lucy, Bryce, and Shane. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be March 30th at the Stage of Karma, and 8 p.m. is when the doors open, correct?
You got it.
That's correct.
Awesome.
Yes.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
So March 30th.
You can get your tickets in advance at James Street Productions.
.com.
Oh, there we go.
That is easy to remember.
Wait, say that.
.com.
Thank you. That is missing on radio today. Nobody does the .com anymore. And I sometimes I'm sitting there listening to the radio and I think about that and I'm like, nobody says .com because it's just so like
We're bringing it back.
normal. Yeah, let's bring it back.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time.
How do they say it now? What's
They just
what's
say
the
.com.
2018 cadence?
They just say .com. They don't. Yeah, they don't do anything. Yeah, they don't do anything special because everybody's so used to the internet now. But back when the internet was new, it was really cool and snazzy to have a website. So everyone would be like .com.
http://www.com.
Exactly, and I missed the .com.
Yeah.
So you can always hear us at riversedgepgh.com, and you can do
Yo.
/tag. Yeah.
We should
River
actually
Talk.
do that at our shows. Be like, check us out on BuffaloRoseMusic.com.
Yes. Harmonize.
That would be amazing. I feel like you would get more traffic that way because it's such a I was gonna say it's such a creative way, but it's really not because they've been doing it for years. But it's such a fun.
It'll be cute.
It's a fun way to do it. Yeah, it's a classic that will bring people back wanting for more. So people have been leaving the studio a mess.
It's folksy. It's from a simpler time. It goes with the theme, right?
I miss it. Yeah.
Do you remember back
in the day
when people sang.com?
2004. A simpler time.
Thank you guys so much for
Thanks
coming
for having
in.
us.
Thank you.
Buffalo Rose. You can see them again March 30th at the stage at Karma. The doors will open at 8 p.m. You do not want to miss it. I am not going to miss out on who is trashing the studio, who's leaving filth on the floor, rubbish everywhere you look. If it is you, you're going to be gone. And I have a way. So as I said, I ordered the trash can on Amazon. And I can now order things via the Alexa. I can also use the Alexa to spy. I just bought an Alexa Spot today. It's now set up in my house. And an Alexa Spot has a monitor similar to this. I'm going to be buying a camera. And I'm going to be putting it in this room. And I'm going to start buying more cameras. And we're going to separate...
You just played your hand, man. I thought you had already done it.
Oh, it's coming. And when it comes, I will find out who's leaving this place a mess. The other day, I walked into the bathroom, and I'm not going to put a camera in the bathroom, but I can put a camera near the bathroom so I know who walks in to the bathroom. I walked, our sink was clogged.
I want to know who's regular.
No, here's what happened. The sink was clogged, and I took the trash can from the bathroom and put it under the sink because I took the pipe off and I used it as a bucket. And then I wanted to just leave it underneath that pipe in case it wasn't tightened tight enough, and that way if I came back it wasn't water all over the floor. So I left that trash can there, and anybody who knows the studio, the trash can in the kitchen is like 3 feet from the bathroom. Not far. But whoever it was too lazy to walk their trash 3 feet. They threw it on the floor. They threw their trash on the floor. It's total disrespect. I found food residue on the microphone the one day. I found food on the floor in both the studio room and the isolation room, and those are the only two rooms that you're not allowed to have food. I've seen there was a food stain on the nice brand new carpet out in the waiting room. No one decided to clean it. No one even bothered to let me know that they spilled. People are treating this like a dormitory. And that is coming to an end. Oh, let me tell you.
Opium den.
It's coming to an end. And when
this is not your safe shooting gallery, people. All right?
When I find out who it is, like I said, you are going to wish you were at Han's funeral home, because by the time I'm done with you, your life will be so miserable
that you will want a local green burial.
And everyone in this city will know what filth, what trash, and what rubbish you are, and your show will be thrown out to the curb, and you will be kicked off of the River's Edge. Don't worry, it is coming. I am bringing in cameras. Big Brother is coming to the River's Edge, and I will know every single thing that you do. Oh yes, there is no hiding. Your day of reckoning is coming. That is my final judgment. For Michael Cohen, for Zach Fell behind the board, I am Brian Crawford. This is the River's Edge Radio Network. This is River Talk on the River's Edge. Thank you so much to Buffalo Rose for coming in. Do not forget to see them. Oh, and you have got a big thing coming up. What do you have for us?
Coming up, March 16th, the second installment of Laugh Riot, punk-themed comedy at the Roboto Project. Ooh.
Let's go ahead. Keep going. You're good.
All right. You're good. This month, we've got Shannon Norman, Helen Wildy, and Ian McIntosh. Last time was a blast. We'd have to bring you. Yeah, it's fun comedy. It's like the Roboto Project. Yeah, so it's all ages. It's relatively dry.
Does that mean you can't bring alcohol, or you can?
It means you should not be seen drinking alcohol.
So bring in a tea, like a good tea, like we were talking about. Not the kind that is the deadly poison, but the kind that is super good.
Yeah, so that's going to be big. It's going to be fun. It's March 16th. It's at the Roboto Project. It's only $5.
3 fantastic comedians plus me hosting.
Fantastic. That sounds great. So that's going to be on the 16th.
Yeah.
And you don't want to miss that. We're going to be bringing in some guests in the coming weeks that are all going to be related to the Indie Rock Festival, which is going to be at Cativa. So you have that to look forward to here on this program. We are going to be sponsoring that event as a media sponsor here on the River's Edge. So lots of good stuff with that on its way. We have a song. What song did you send me, Shane, if I can pull you back up here for a second?
Yeah, I sent you our single. It's called The Last One. It was released last September. We had a fun release show in Shenley Park. We're talking about our beautiful parks today. We love our parks.
I do love the parks.
Yes, we do.
That's one thing that this city does well. Like when the park people want to get something done, man, it gets done.
They do it real quick. Yeah,
it's great.
The name of the song is The Last One. Did I say that? It's called The Last One. You should follow us on Spotify if you would like, or if you like the song, or either way.
If you hate us, follow us on Spotify. We'll take whoever.
Tell us.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're going to end with that. We're going to end the show with The Last One, and it's the last thing you'll hear on today's River Talk. Thank you. We've got local music up next on Pittsburgh's Voice for Local Music, The River's Edge. I'm Brian Crawford, and we, with Michael Cohen, and we will see you next week.
Sheep's clothes, I'll show you my